You're watching the Hong Kong Racing Show, Andrew Brown, with our special guest, Andie Biancone, to talk all things Hong Kong racing viewed through a North American lens. How are things, Andy?
All good, Andrew. Just coming off Pegasus weekend and obviously all those exciting races in Hong Kong and Hot Springs is frozen over. So we'll be getting there a little bit later and I'll be here in Florida this weekend for Holy Bull.
Awesome. I should mention we will be joined by Alex Evers shortly for all you Alex Evers fans out there. He's going to be joining us to talk all things Sha Tin this weekend. He's busy photographing up a storm in Hong Kong at the moment. But you mentioned Pegasus Day, Andy. Before we talk a little bit of Hong Kong racing, you and your dad, former Hong Kong trainer Patrick Biancone, celebrated a big win last weekend on Pegasus Day. Congrats on Layabout's win in the William McKnight.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we are so proud of Layabout, our little Forrest Gump with his special bug-eyed goggles, which are actually, kind of widely used overseas in Australia and Hong Kong and such. So him kind of bringing that flair over here to the United States.
That created a little bit of controversy online. Those goggles.
Yes, just some slight controversy, they're called pacifiers, the netting over his eyes. He's worn them in every single race with us, but they're not blinkers. But most recently, we added duct tape to the inside of the right cup. So it was acting as a blinker because he's very spooky. The pacifiers kind of help muddle the looks of everything. I kind of try to tell people that they're almost like earplugs, but for your eyes, for a horse who sees ghosts like layabout. They really help him feel secure. And especially out of his right eye, not sure what his vision is like. He's not blind, but he just sees weird things out of that eye. And especially when horses come on his outside, he has a tendency to just go like that. So we help him feel nice and secure, putting that duct tape there. We asked Gulfstream Park, like, hey, should we declare this as a blinker? They said no because he's been wearing this hood all these last starts, and they almost compared it to like adding a piece of tape over like a hole in a blinker. Like you wouldn't necessarily disclose that or like changing the size of blinkers. But I felt a need to be transparent about it on air just because I did feel like it was going to help his performance, which and it did. So,
Mm.
um, yay for those of you who bet on him and listened to the pre-race analysis.
Yeah, and I think if anything, it just opens up a wider conversation about these sorts of things, doesn't it? And transparency is important when it comes to all that kind of information. I got to ask Andy, you managed to interview your dad post race in your role as an analyst for FanDuel TV. What was that like on such a big day of racing to celebrate there with your dad? But also, how do you go balancing your emotions in the moment?
Oh, bad. I just stumble through the whole thing. If you listen, I'm just like, like
Layabout has been a bit of a passion project for you. Tell us about the journey with this horse overall and how he's stolen your heart.
You think it's lay a bit, it will be lay more next time. But anyway, he's a great horse. We love him.
it was awesome. It's really fun to share that with my parents, and that is my dad's favorite horse in the barn just because of he's a challenge, and I think my dad has really, grown to they have a very strong bond just because of how difficult he was when he first came in and where he is today. It's very rewarding. So I think, it's just fun to share that with my family.
Yeah, well, congratulations again. I'm
Thank
sure
you.
that there were people watching from Hong Kong cheering him on. I know I actually mentioned to David Hayes when we had him on the show last week that your dad had a runner in one of the big races on Saturday. So hopefully David was watching as well. All right, well, let's talk some Hong Kong racing. You were, of course, there for HKIR week last month. Gosh, it was only last month. It feels like an eternity ago. And you got to lay eyes on your favorite horse, Romantic Warrior. So let's start with his performance in the Stewards Cup last weekend, where he dropped back to the mile for the first time in a couple of seasons. And he couldn't have looked more impressive, capturing the first leg of the Hong Kong Triple Crown. Andy, James McDonald said after the race he's run out of superlatives for this horse. What did you make of his performance?
I thought it was insane, and I actually was kind of worried at the top of the lane. I was like, "Oh, come on, J Mac! Like, don't do this to me, J Mac!" And it was just James being riding him like he was the best horse in the race, which he was by far, and being extremely confident in Romantic Warrior's ability as he should be. Um, but just another phenomenal effort. And for this horse to have had surgery earlier in the year, have the summer off, come back, win off the layoff, and not even regress off of that race. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Just keeping on rolling, and seeing him in person working HKIR week in Hong Kong was beyond incredible. He is just a horse who is so unique. He's got the cutest little face. I know that is so odd, but he's got like really big eyeballs and he's got a beautiful way of moving. Just a very intelligent, honest face. So it was really fun to get to see him in person and watch him work.
When you saw him in the flesh for the first time at Sha Tin, was it everything you expected and more, Andy?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I was like, "Oh my gosh." Like, he's like one of those celebrities that actually does look better in person. Like, you're like, "Dang." Yeah, he's just an outstanding physical.
Nice. Well, that was Romantic's 12th win at Group 1 level. He's now won 21 of his 28 starts, and no racehorse in history has won more prize money than Romantic Warrior than him globally. Next up for Romantic Warrior is the City Hong Kong Gold Cup, which is leg 2 of the Triple Crown, and that's on March 1. And the final leg of the Triple Crown being the Champions and Chater Cup on May 24th. Triple Crown won by Voyage Bubble last year. Voyage Bubble could only manage third against Romantic Warrior on the weekend. Lucky Swain S, I tell you what, he ran a huge race, the sprinter over the mile to run second behind Romantic Warrior. And next up for Lucky Swain S, perhaps is a trip to the Al Quoz in Dubai, where he may actually meet She's So Spicy, a horse you'd be very familiar with, Andy, in the Al Quoz Sprint in Dubai. And there has been a little bit of talk about She's So Spicy's connections wanting to have a match race with Ka Ying Rising. What do you think about that? Would she be any match for Ka Ying Rising?
That is so tough to say. I'm a huge She's So Spicy fan. I would never knock her in any way, shape, or form, and she has beat some of the best male sprinters in the world. Being a 3-year-old filly, beating olders and nonetheless male horses, that's very, very impressive. But Ka Ying Rising, I mean, 17 wins in a row, and he is just an absolute beast. I texted David Hayes after the race congratulating him, and he said he's just never had a horse like this in his entire life. And he's also extremely impressive in person. Funny, he doesn't look like your classic sprinter. He's actually kind of a lot lighter, especially behind. Looking at him, he almost strikes you as more of a miler. But clearly just fast as can be, and training, he's fun to watch because he just has such a presence about him. He's all business. We'll get into this a bit later, but getting onto the track, he's just ready to go. Like, just
Mm.
no BS, gets right to it, does whatever you want. It's just push button.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. We just saw some pictures of him winning last weekend the Centenary Sprint Cup, and we won't have to wait too long until we see him again. Next up is the Queen's Silver Jubilee Cup on Feb 22, where he'll step up to 1,400 metres, and David Hayes indicating that he thinks that 1,400 metre track record is in danger and there for the taking when Ka Ying Rising steps up to the 7 furlongs in a few weeks' time. Speaking of your time there in Hong Kong and Ka Ying Rising, and David, I know that you actually were in the tower there, the training tower, and you got to spend some time with David when Ka Ying Rising was breezing or working before his Hong Kong sprint win. What was all that time like with David at training that morning?
Oh, it was so fun. Keith and I actually we went out 2 mornings. It was awesome. David used to be my family's next door neighbor when my dad trained in Hong Kong. So he remembered me running around as a little kid, and my older brother was like doing Ben Hayes's homework and stuff. So it felt like a little bit of a reunion. It was really fun. But just the differences between the facilities over there versus in the United States, and the way horses are trained over there versus over here, it's just mind-blowing, like, so immensely different, it's crazy.
Well, tell us about, I guess, some of those differences. What struck you, I guess, the most in terms of those differences between American racing and Hong Kong racing in terms of training routines?
Well, so in America, everybody goes on the track and there's just difference of direction. If you're jogging, you are going clockwise on the outside rail. If you're galloping, you're going counterclockwise, more towards the inside, and faster traffic towards the inside rail, slower traffic more towards the outside, but obviously not the extreme outside. So just that flow of traffic is very different, and American horses will often back up and stand and turn around or go straight off, but they do jog for some time on the track. Well, in Hong Kong, a lot of the barn areas have their own walking machines.
Mm,
David actually pointed out to a walking machine and was like, "This was your dad's idea. Your dad requested these walking machines back in the day." And it's so funny because my dad is his number one thing is like hand walking the horses before they go out to the track. So horses will get a good walk, and then they will go into almost an arena and jog in the arena.
mm,
Like, so they're not jogging to warm up on the track. They're getting a walk, they're jogging in the arena. And then depending on the speed of the slowest, just little gallops, canters are in the very inside,
mm,
slightly faster traffic, and works more towards the outside, and then turf works on the extreme outside. Um, but horses will get on the track and gallop right away. They won't really walk or jog to any capacity. Like if they're on the track, they are going forward.
mm,
Also, I do believe the track switches directions every now and then, not the working tracks, but the very inside. Some days they'll go to clockwise, some days they'll go counterclockwise. And it just seems like the horses are out for a very long time between walking, jogging. The gallop is relatively quick. And then a majority of the horses will go swim after they gallop as well. So the trainers pull the tack, and the horses will just swim a nice lap before coming back and getting a bath. Um, but the craziest thing, this was like blowing my mind in Hong Kong, going to the paddock, a lot of horses' tails look like they're disintegrated. And
yes,
I was just like, who is doing this to these horses' tails? This is so ugly. Like this, what is going on? And
mm,
then David explained to me that the chlorine in the pool has to be very strong, obviously, just so horses don't get skin disease or whatever, because they're all using this community pool.
mm.
And the chlorine reacts with about 30% of horses' tails to where it just kind of like eats a bit of their tail away to where it looks like you took scissors and just cut it
Yes.
off. So if you see a Hong Kong horse with a tail like that, it's from the chlorine in the swimming pool.
That is so interesting. I've often wondered that when they're parading prior to a race and seen these like half tails that, as you say, look like somebody's taken a very bad barber has taken the scissors to the tail or something along those
We
lines.
went
So
to
that
Supercuts,
explains it.
yeah.
Yeah, that kind of super. That explains it. Okay, that's awesome. No, that's really fascinating stuff. Those differences. What about in terms of clockers? Do they have clockers there like they do in American racing?
Well, there's always press and people around documenting everything, but I
Yeah.
just think the system is very high tech. So David at no point had a stopwatch or binoculars and was like clocking his horses.
Right.
I don't know if it's the microchips or the saddle pads. Every horse is assigned a number, by the way, and
Mm,
that's a number with the jockey club. So every horse wears their numbered saddle towel every day. I do believe Ka Ying Rising is 100 or 1 because he's number some it's like some special number like that. But the chips, whether they're in the pads or the horses themselves, um, record very exact fractions when they're working. So Ka Ying
mm,
Rising could be working. David has no stopwatch and he's getting the fractions on his Apple Watch. And it's just going and it's just there and it's
right.
accessible to everybody and there's no mistakes. So I do
Mm,
think that is very high tech and interesting. Also, every single horse every day is videoed. I mean, obviously, just the big difference between American racing is so capitalism. It's every trainer owns their business. It's a business. The horses are livestock. Over there, the trainers are employed by the jockey club. All the horses, though they do have ownership groups, are a part of the jockey club. So very different in just like the overall transparency. And it's kind of cool. Trainers can be like, yes, I need saddles and I want this and I want that, and it's just like boom boom boom, it's built, and trainers don't have to pay their riders. It's another thing, the exercise riders in the mornings are very very good because they have to go through the jockey school
Mm,
there to get licensed, and it's a very prestigious job to be an exercise rider over there. So um, very high standard in terms of like quality of exercise riders.
mm,
There's also treadmills, which I found very interesting, but um, David will say first day back, he usually won't even put a rider on a horse. He'll just take them to the treadmill, and they can go up to 35 miles per hour, like breeze speed on the treadmills. I don't necessarily think everybody does that. Most people will just gallop nicely on the treadmills, but those are all accessible for every single trainer there. Just a very cool facility. Also, there's like an arena, like a jumping arena in the middle of the track. And David, I think this is a very Australian thing, but he'll be like, "Yep, some days, day before a race, I have an older horse that just needs to be freshened up and have his mind changed. I'll just let him jump the little jump in the middle there,
mm.
ride, have him have a hack in the ring." So very different. You would not see that with American horses or in America really whatsoever. So I just thought very, very cool facility and very different way of doing things.
Yeah, it's so fascinating, isn't it? That is an Australian thing too. A lot of trainers will do that with their older horses just to switch them on or give them something different during training before a race or something like that. Put them over a couple of jumps in the middle of the track. I remember a trainer called Danny O'Brien used to do that with a horse called Master O'Reilly, who was a Caulfield Cup winner, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's a bit of a tactic that Australian trainers do. So Andy, if there was one thing, if you could click your fingers and bring one thing from Hong Kong training and just it's automatically at Gulfstream Park and available there for your dad or for trainers across the country, what would it be?
That's hard. That's like asking me to pick one candy in the candy store. I think that is really, really hard. Like,
You can have two if
I
you want.
okay, I think probably the walking machines. I think walking horses before they go to train is so good, just helping them warm up and soundness
Mm,
um and they're like proper, they're not like in California those little like machines. They're like big walking machines where it's very safe for horses to be in there and etc. So I would say walking machines. Um and I mean the treadmills were kinda cool. Like, you're
mhm.
telling me I don't have to get on a horse, like, first day back after he's had a week off, I can just throw him on the treadmill for a second and then ride him the day after he's gotten some of his energy out? That sounds pretty fun.
Okay.
But it's hard to pick. I mean, the pool was so awesome. So the surface there is super good. Like, I
Mm,
don't know, it was weird. It was like a mix of polytrack and dirt. So their dirt isn't true dirt. It has, like, a little bit of a polytrack in it.
okay.
Um, but it just was, I mean, horses would gallop by and you wouldn't even hear them.
Yeah.
So super well maintained, very good consistent surface. Um, and yeah, you can tell that the Hong Kong Jockey Club takes a ton of pride in their whole facility because it was amazing.
Yeah. I remember being there with you with Ka Ying Rising that morning, and when Ka Ying Rising went past, you barely heard him. It was just this pitter patter as he went across the dirt in front of us. It was quite incredible.
Yes, and another interesting thing, I mean, obviously the stables are 3 stories, so there's ramps for the horses, I mean, rubber ramps for the horses to walk up. It's really not, you
Mm,
think like, "Oh, multiple story barns, that's crazy," but when you see it, you're like, "Oh, this makes sense for here."
mhm.
But the craziest thing to me was all the stalls are just bars, so they're very open and all the horses can see each other and touch noses. And I thought that was really, really cool. Obviously, in America, that might not necessarily work because you have colts and fillies and mares. So the colts might, smell the fillies and it'll get them worked up or something. But as everything over there is a gelding, like pretty much, it's
Mm,
cool. It can be kind of like a show horse barn where all the horses can touch and it's fine. It was crazy though. I do feel like the windows are a bit low, like to their chests.
right.
And it's like, dude, an American horse would totally try to jump out of there. Like, you can't tell me that that wouldn't be wouldn't happen one time. And David's like, nope, that has never happened here. I'm like, it's probably because the horses are out for so long. Like, they're just,
Mm-mm.
they're out, they're doing their thing. Like, it's very very cool.
Yeah, very cool. It sounds like you and Keith had an awesome time there. It was great to catch up with you guys there, and congratulations on your engagement too. That was amazing that you got to and to link up with Alex and get some cool
I
photos
know.
taken. That was awesome.
Shout out to Alex for doing our engagement photos. So fun. That was like craziest. And Keith and I are like the most disorganized. We are not planners by any means. It just like by happenstance worked out so well that Alex was able to do that for us. But I told Alex, I was like, please, no high definition. Like you're like we do not need to be seeing my pores. Like just so it was great. We had so much fun. Alex is the best.
That's awesome. Well, speaking of Alex, he's about to join us to talk about the big racing at Sha Tin this weekend. We're about to kick off the 4-year-old series, which is really exciting stuff. You are going to share your selection a little later, so keep your eyes on the Hong Kong Racing North America social channels on Saturday for Andie's pick in that race. But in the meantime, Andie, thank you so much for joining us on the show and giving us those awesome insights about the differences in American and Hong Kong training, and your recap of Romantic Warrior and Ka Ying as well, who will both be back on the track soon. We can't wait to watch them in action. But it's been awesome to see you.
Thank you so much for having me, as always, Andrew.
See you soon, Andie. Time now to cross to Hong Kong and welcome in Alex Evers to the show. How's your week been, Alex?
Oh, it's been lovely, Brownie. A little Sha Tin on Sunday, a little Happy Valley on Wednesday, bag some winners, Invincible Shield on Sunday, pick three at Happy Wednesday. I love the consolation payouts here too. By the way, if you get second to the last leg, you get paid out. So pick three, I got paid more money for the horse running second than the actual three winners, which is awesome. They keep you betting here in Hong Kong. Just another reason to play, bet with the world. You know what I mean? And just looking forward to the Classic Mile. What a really good addition they got this year. One of the best I've seen in the times that I've been coming as far as depth and competitiveness. So just looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. And the barrier draw makes the race even more interesting than it was already. So
Yeah.
love to hear what you think about it and excited to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we look at the field and those post positions, you've been out at morning works during the week as well, of course. Has any particular horse or horses caught your eye in the mornings?
I really like Little Paradise, and independent of what he did in track work on Wednesday.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see what he's going to do, and especially from the barrier that he drew, where he drew six. I think he probably won the draw. Looks like he's got a bit of ability. When I talked to Vincent, he said he's kind of a free running horse, so he can place him anywhere in the field, which would be advantageous this year because the pace looks like it might be a little bit off. It might go a little slow.
yeah,
So he's looked well. He didn't get in the race, but your boy Aerodynamics did look really well working with Crimson Flash the
yeah.
other morning. And unfortunately, I missed Invincible Ibis. He went at 4:45, so didn't get to put my eyes on him. But from what I've heard from Mark Noonan, he went really well too. Hugh was happy with him, so it's looking like a really really good race.
Yeah, God, he loves working his horses early, Mark, doesn't he? I think I missed my wish a couple of times during
Yeah,
HKR as well, who was working 4:30 in the morning. But anyway, as you said, big weekend of racing this weekend, and time now to take a look at the big race. The feature race is the Hong Kong Classic Mile, as Alex mentioned, the first leg of the 4-year-old series. This is your field. Number one, Sagacious Life, who's won 2 of 3 in Hong Kong. He's the highest rated runner at set weights. And Zach Burton, who had options aplenty to ride a bunch of these, chose the Pierre Ung trainee. He will start from post 13, second from the outside. Two Little Paradise looking for 3 on the trot. He's won 5 of 8, actually, and is certainly one of the horses to beat here. Huey Bowman keeps the ride on Invincible Ibis, one of 4 runners for Mark Newnham. Defeated Beauty Bolt last out. Number 6, Infinite Resolve, second last out to Little Paradise, draws well here. Down the page, Shamwow, one of the horses that Alex has been following. I'm not sure he's going to appear in Alex's top 3, though. Speed map time shows Ashkavani and Crimson Flash leading. Beauty Bolt and Sagacious Life posted 3 wide, according to this speed map. Anyway, Little Paradise getting a nice run, 3 back the fence. As I mentioned, Zach Burton had a number of opportunities in this race. We found out on a recent episode of this show why he chose Sagacious Life. Here's what he had to say.
Listen, he's not a very big horse. He's sort of about 1,050 pound, and he won a nice Class 2 race over a mile, carrying 135. I thought that was a really good effort, and with the view of going further as well. He's won over 2,400 in Brazil, so he should be a solid chance in all three legs. But I thought he had a good chance to win the mile as well. He races on pace. He just needs to relax a little bit better. He can be a little bit aggressive in his races, so he's still learning. He's only had the 3 starts here, and he's run well at all 3 starts, so he's got a solid base, solid form line there. I am worried about Little Paradise. I think he's probably put the best performance up so far. I just had a little question mark over whether he would run the mile. He might be a little bit too sharp for it, but against his own age, he's going to get every chance to do that. Invincible Ibis obviously gets back in the field. He needs a little bit of luck, but you can't knock him. He's been getting better all the time. He's been growing in confidence. Very nice horse on the way up. And obviously there are others there as well with Top Dragon. You could probably remind me of the others, but yeah, I'd 7 there. But it's the amazing thing is, and it's no surprise really, that since I made my decision, even leading up to it, but since I made my decision, it doesn't matter who I talk to, everyone's got a different opinion. Everyone said, oh, I would have gone with this horse, or I would have gone with that horse. So it's not as if everyone's picked the same horse. The opinion is divided, and I think that tells you that we've got a pretty good bunch of horses this year.
Yeah, Alex, Zach sort of alluding to there that this is a wide open race with a lot of differing opinions, and it should make for a good wagering contest as well. Who do you like?
Well, it's interesting because I went back and I watched all the races where Sagacious Life and Winfield ran against each other in the Brazilian Triple Crown. So under different names, Sagacious Life and Navio Fantasma translates to ghost ship of all things. But he did not come close to Winfield in those races over in Brazil. Winfield right to the front, ran him off his feet, couldn't get him. Winfield didn't run in the final leg of the Brazilian Triple Crown, where Sagacious Life at 2,400 meters absolutely dominated. That being said, the transition period for the Brazilian horses coming to Hong Kong is very, very difficult. It's about 14 months to get over here at the quarantine. They have to quarantine to the United States, then come over to Hong Kong, then acclimate. It looks like in the time they've been here, Sagacious Life has taken to Hong Kong racing very well, whereas Winfield's taken a bit of time to get acclimated. He's only had 1 run here. He probably needs another run, but at least in my speed map, which I don't actually make, but I think Winfield's going to go forward. Akashvani's going to go forward, but I don't know if the pace is going to be as hot as we'd like to see. I went through yesterday, Brownie, and I pulled up some of the sectional times on these horses to see like kind of who closes the fastest, and they're very, very similar. But out of all the horses, Little Paradise hasn't been at 1,600 meters, but at 1,400 meters, he's closed the fastest sectional in 22:39. So it's faster than Invincible Ibis, faster than Sagacious Life. I like him to be placed, a little bit more forward, maybe get a first jump, save some ground. Whereas Invincible Ibis and Sagacious Life and Beauty Both are all going to have to navigate tougher barriers than Little Paradise. But I do think Bowman fits Invincible Ibis very well. He's very good at bringing horses around over the top at equal weights. I would imagine it's going to be easier to be hung a little bit wide than when you're up against the handicap carrying 135 against horses going in lighter. Sagacious Life, one of his wins came with Brittany Wong, where he carried 108. So that's a huge, huge thing. He ran 6th the other one, and then his last run was great. His trial was beautiful the other day with Zach aboard. So if you like him, I think your price is going to be really short. Betting wise, I really like Little Paradise. I think at this distance, this trip, I think you'll get a better price on him than the other two. But I like Little Paradise over Invincible Ibis. And then I'm going to toss Sagacious Life here. I know it's kind of crazy. It's going against the champion jockey, Zach Burton. But I'm going to put Akash Vani to hang around if the pace is off to finish third. So if Sagacious Life wins, I'm not going to be one bit surprised. The lovely horse. And if he does win, obviously have a great chance of sweeping the series as the distances go to 18 to 2,000. But in this one, I do like Little Paradise. And Jimmy Ting says he's ticked off all the boxes. He's improved every day. His training's been wonderful. He has a better barrier. He fits Vincent Ho's running style, who's also very excited to ride the horse. So that's where I'm going to go. What about you, Brownie?
Incredibly, Alex, we have got the same exacta, and we're both tossing Sagacious Life.
So we didn't talk about this before. I should ask you.
No, we didn't. And look, I don't think he can knock the form of Little Paradise one little bit. 3 for 4 this season, all under Purton, of course. But as you mentioned, Vincent Ho takes the reins, and I think a fitting replacement. Distance doesn't look like it's going to be an issue. Looked like he one eased down over the 7 furlongs. So I think he'll appreciate the step up to the mile. I like the fact that you've looked at his closing sectionals. That's another plus, another positive. Post 6, I think, is another positive. Vincent should be able to give him a soft run from there, and he probably just needs the gaps at the right time down the stretch. But it looks like a horse that can put himself in the right positions. And same exacta, hardest to beat. I've got Invincible Ibis, who's been superb, winning his last 4, Alex. Huey Bowman sticks. I like the fact that Huey's had a ride on him now. And if he can find a nice spot, probably midfield, I'd say from post 11, he's certainly going to be, one of the major factors there at the end as well. No Sagacious Life for me. I'm actually going to go with the other Mark Newnham trainee, or he's got 4, as I mentioned, but another one of the Mark Newnham horses, Infinite Resolve, who to complete my trifecta. And he was running well behind Little Paradise last time out. It looks like he can improve off that. I guess the mile, the only concern with him, but fingers crossed he can see out the trip. So, same exacta. Little Paradise to beat Invincible Ibis. I've just got Infinite Resolve in there for third. So we'll have to have a standout trifecta with maybe should we just go? Basically, we'll go Little Paradise, Invincible Ibis, and then we'll take our 2 different horses for third in a trifecta, and we'll have a big exacta.
I think so. Or I think if you go by the way things should go, is everyone should get on Sagacious Life because we said he's not going to be in the top 3. That's the real handicapping maneuver right there.
Yeah,
Take the opposite. How are we going against the champion jockey and your new co-host Zach Burton?
Well, as he even sort of alluded to, like Little Paradise is one of the horses that he's the most concerned about, and it's a wide open race with lots of differing opinions, and perhaps he didn't fare that well in the draw as well in post 13. So, I guess that's why. But I mean, obviously, like you, I wouldn't be surprised if the horse wins and sweeps the series. But we've got to take him on sometimes, right? Otherwise, we're just never going to get any value in our exotics and our bets and all that kind of stuff. Speaking of bets, my best bet, I'm not sure what price we're going to get, but I think Patch of Theta gets the job done in race 3, much easier than what he's been contesting. And I think he'll be winning that particular race. Do you have anything else you like on the card?
I haven't looked that closely at it to give an educated opinion.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna sit this one out today.
Okay, no worries. Well, we'll just focus on the Classic Mile, and yeah, it's going to be the start of what should be an awesome series. Mark Newnham won this race last year. He's got 4 chances at it this year. It'd be great to see him in the winner's circle again. So lots of different storylines and lots happening. It's going to be a fantastic race on Sunday. We're looking forward to seeing all your photos.
Looking forward to getting him. The track bias on the last Sunday was awesome for me. It was very clear early on that it was forward and close to the fence, and I ended up modifying kind of where I was aiming stuff before Ka Ying Rising, and it really went my way. So we'll see. We'll have to see what the B+T course, how that plays early on. But I do Zach's opinion and handicap the early races and saw what kind of class the horses were and who should have been where and what, and was able to use his positive information to make some positive pictures. So happy about that, but excited to get out there Sunday.
Yeah, that's great. How was last Sunday, by the way? The atmosphere, Ka Ying Rising equaling Silent Witnesses record, Romantic Warrior, 12th Group 1. I mean, it's sort of like a wash, rinse, repeat for you now. You've seen those 2 horses win on the same day multiple times now at Sha Tin, haven't you?
Yep. Yeah, and look, if for Ka Ying Rising, there's like, how are they going to beat him? Like Golden 60, he would get back. You could get him with pace a little bit. Like those horses that close, there's always that there's a bias or there's pace or there's trip trouble. But Ka Ying Rising makes his own luck, sets his own pace. He seems to just be able to go switch off, get behind horses, go around them. Like, are we going to say, like, we had that bold prediction? Remember a couple of seasons at the end of last season where I said he was going to get 17? I'm going to go bold prediction and say he's going to get Winks. He's going to get 33.
Wow. Okay.
It's a long way away, right? And anything can happen in horse racing, but he's young, he's fast, he's still growing and maturing. The sky's still the limit for him. Like it's absolutely incredible what he's done and what he can do. So I'm going to say he's going to get that 33.
Well, that's probably
there it is.
2 and a bit years away, based on how many times he races each year. But
and he's got to travel 2 times probably to Everest.
Yeah,
33 and 3 Everest wins. There you go. That's what I'm going to say.
That would be phenomenal. Yeah, well, let's hope.
And if he runs against She's So Spicy, he beats She's So Spicy by 5 lengths. That's my prop bet parlay.
I saw some news actually since I spoke to Andy earlier. Some news has dropped that She So Spicy is now not going to the Middle East, so we'll have to be standing by for more information on what's going on with She So Spicy. But maybe they've decided scrap the Middle East and start focusing on the Everest based on our conversations on this show. Who knows?
They could actually, with I don't know how bad the infection was an infection. I don't know how bad the infection was, but if it's something super minor, they could still make Champions Day in April, end of April. It's what,
Wow,
3.5 months away.
I
Like if they
think so.
want to take them on and they get a free flight, they get expenses covered, they get free entry fee, I believe. So what's the risk if they got the fastest horse in the world?
And the opportunity for a side bet with David Hayes as much as they like.
They can have a side bet with me too if they want.
Alex, thank you very much for joining us as always. Appreciate your valuable insights and very jealous that you're in Hong Kong at the moment. Have a great Sunday.
Thank you, Brownie. I'll see you in Santa Anita on the 7th of February, I hope.
Looking forward.
Got some goodies for you.
Oh, look at that.
Some ZP swag. When Sagacious Life wins, I'll just pop the hat on and just boom. ZP
What?
right there. He gave us some giveaways for us, so we got some special stuff when I get back to the States next week.
Awesome. That's fantastic. I'm looking forward to seeing that. They look sharp. All right, mate.
Sharp.
Great to see you. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Don't forget to check out the Hong Kong Jockey Club website for all the information that you need to make informed wagering decisions and all the news that you can get about Hong Kong racing. Follow us on HK Racing US on the socials, and we will see you next week on the Hong Kong Racing Show.